This is your first chapter practice assignment. You have access to a Google Doc, which you can use online, or you can download as a Word document, a PDF if you need to. I have it exported into Microsoft OneNote so I can write over it. But just make sure that however you're working with it, whether you're printing it off or you're working on your computer, that you make sure that you submit this assignment back into the area in which you got it so that you can receive credit for it. So in this practice, we're going to talk about qualitative properties of objects and then as well as metric prefixes. So for this first one, you're given qualitative descriptions here of different rocks. You're going to drag the rock below. These will be boxes you can click and drag if you're working inside a Microsoft product. If you're working with it as a PDF or as printed off, you're going to have to draw arrows. You can also label the rock as number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Whatever works best for you. Just make sure that you clearly indicate the identity of the rock and matching it with this description. So you'll see the descriptions you have here, your 3 images of your rocks below. You're going to answer the second, third, and fourth question as part of the assignment. We're going to wait on correctly identifying the rocks. So you're going to answer which characteristics were helpful in identifying, what characteristics were not helpful, what properties would you have used to describe the rocks. So you're going to pick which of the 3 was helpful, not helpful, and then maybe go ahead and give a property that would have been useful in your opinion to describe the rock, something that would have distinguished it from the other 3 or made it easy to identify. In the metric prefixes, we're going to use our prefix skill from lecture. We're going to show 1. So in this case, we're going to convert 1 milligram to 1 kilogram. So we are here, 1 milligram, and we're going to jump 1,000 and 1,000. So what that means is I'm going to take 1 milligram, divide it by 1,000. Okay. The other option is, I'm going to divide it by 1,000. That's the first step. And then I'm going to divide by 1,000. Okay, so that's one way you can look at dividing. So going to the left, we're going to divide. When we're moving to the right, we're going to multiply by those factors. Remember we said each of these is 1,000, each of these smaller ones is a factor of 10. The other option is if I'm going to move backwards, I could go by moving the decimal place. So this is moving 3 decimal places, and this is moving 3 decimal places. Each of these is moving 1. Okay, and we're moving to the left because the number is getting smaller. So I could have taken my 1 milligram, and this tells me I'm going to move it 6 places because 3 plus 3 is 6. So I'm going to start off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to fill in zeros. Okay, and then I'm going to rewrite it as 0.000001 kilogram. Now, what's important here is this 0 in front of the decimal place. The reason why that 0 is important is because it draws attention to the fact that there's a decimal place, because most numbers don't start with a 0. If you wrote the number like this, sometimes that decimal place is not clearly indicated because we just lightly tap it. So we are not going to write numbers like this. We are always going to put the 0 in front of the decimal place. Okay, so you can either divide by factors of, or you can calculate how many decimal places to move over, and write the number. So we're actually going to show 2, and then you guys are going to do 1 by yourself. So we're going to convert 1 decimeter, that's dm, to 1 hectometer, which is hm. So now we are decimeter and hectometer. So we're going to move over 1, 2, 3 decimal places to the left. So I'm going to start off with 1 decimeter, 1, 2, 3. And this is going to give me 0.001 hectometer. Okay. If I wanted to do the divide by, I'm going to divide by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10. So I'm going to divide each time by 10, which is the equivalent of moving the decimal place over to the left 1 time. Okay, so they both give us the same answer, whether we divide by a factor of or we move the decimal place. Just remember, each of these small increments down here is moving the decimal place over by 1. Each large one is moving the decimal place by 3. Now you guys are going to convert from centimeter to megameter. Okay, so I'm going to pick a different color. So you are going to start off right here, and you are converting to megameter, which brings me to a really important thing I want to point out, and that's that there are 3 different types of M's on our metric scale. We have capital M, which is mega, lowercase m, which is milli, and then technically this is a mu. It's a Greek symbol, but it stands for micro, but it's kind of a cursive M, looks a little bit like a bird, maybe with an extra wing or 2. But there are 3 separate ones, and make sure you know we have mega, milli, and micro. So they all start with M, but their symbols, their prefix symbols are different. So you guys are going to complete this one by yourself, and then you are going to submit this as completed. And then at that point, you will get the answers to the rocks, and there will be a follow-up question for you on the next assignment.